Hey squad, welcome back. In today's video, I want to reveal a few secrets that aren't often talked about when it comes to editing and mixing your projects in Logic Pro. So let's dive in. Now for this project, we're just going to be focusing on my drum bus. Let's have a quick look at what's going through to the bus right now. First of all, we've got our main drum loop. Then we're going to add on a secondary drum loop, this one right here, and a percussion loop just here. Now they're all going through to bus 10. As we can see here, I've got a couple of plugins here which we'll switch in just a minute. But as you can see already on the mixer, we're already overloading on the drum bus as well as on our master stereo out. Nothing has been adjusted over here in terms of the master volume, which is good, nor have we adjusted anything here on the main stereo out fader, which also is good. You really ought to check out my videos on gain staging and how to avoid distortion and clipping. These videos are a must. If you haven't seen them before, definitely check them out. And if you have, definitely worth looking at them again in order to maintain the integrity of your mixes. Anyway, let's go back to the first drum loop. Let's start here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so that's a really healthy loop. Having said that, our fader is all the way up here at unity gain. So we're going to pull that back to about here. I'm going to take out about 6 decibels of gain from the fader. We've created about 6 dB of headroom on the drum bus, which is a positive thing. Let's see what's going on here with the second loop. Okay, again, we need to pull that back as well. So let's take out again another 6 dB out of this. Right, that's leaving us about 4.5 decibels of headroom when we combine these two loops. And then let's bring in the final loop down here. I'm going to pull that back a bit more. I'm going to take out about 15 decibels. Okay, so already that is helping in terms of the overall integrity of our signal going through to the bus, as well as what's going through to the master bus. Now let's bring on these two plugins right here. Of course, the Waves Maserati GRP. Let's switch that in. Now this signal is pretty hot, and let's bring in the Waves CLA 2A. I'm using the drum group preset. Let's switch that in. Okay, so as you can see, again, we're now clipping once again on the group bus as well as on the master bus. You'll also notice here on the compressor, we are clipping here as well. So the input signal going into the compressor is too hot. Now there are a number of things that we can do to address this, and that will include adjusting levels as the signal passes through the plugins, etc. However, we are missing a trick, and the thing we're missing right here is to do with our monitoring. At the moment, on all of our tracks, we are monitoring the signal post fader. So if we look at our channel faders, looking from left to right, we've got the channel fader, then we've got the meter, and that's on the main drum loop. Same on the drum bus, we've got the channel fader, and then we've got the meter. And it's the same for all of these. What we should be doing is toggling between pre-fader monitoring and post-fader monitoring. To get there, we need to go to Mix, Pre-fader monitoring, and now you'll see the meter switches position. We are now looking at the signal before it reaches the channel fader. So let's have a look at what's going on here on this main drum loop. Look at the strength of that signal. That for me is no good. For me, it means the level of control I have over the signal is quite diminished because this drum loop is pretty much normalized. And that goes for all of these tracks right here. Let's have a look at this one. And this one here. Signal is very, very high. How do we address this? Well, the first thing I'd do is I'd go to my drum loop just here. I'm going to take out about 6 dB of gain from this. So I'm going to type -6 just here. Okay, now let's look at the meter. Instantly, that gives me 6 dB of headroom just on the main drum loop alone, which gives me more control at this stage before we go through to the group bus. And of course, there's going to be a knock-on effect. The more control I have here means the more control I have over here. And in the same way, the more control I have within the plugins. So let's take out 6 decibels of gain for each of these. So select the part, hit the region inspector, go to the gain parameter, double click there and type in -6, and we drop by -6 dB. Let's do the same for this. So I'm actually going to take out 12 decibels. So I'm going to go -12 dB, take that much out. Now I have a lot more control over this particular channel. Let's solo that. Okay, much better. So let's go back to our main loop just here. And we're going to toggle between pre-fade monitoring and post-fader monitoring. Okay, and let's go back here, pre-fader. We're getting a much more accurate understanding of what's going on in terms of the signal coming into the channel and then, of course, the signal going out. So we're looking here at what's coming into the channel. The one quick way of dealing with the toggling is by setting up a key command. And what I did was I went to Logic Pro, Key Commands, Edit Assignments. And what I did was I did a search for pre-fader and I programmed in a key command which was free on my computer, so I clicked on Learn by Key label and I programmed in the key command, Command Control P. Okay, and now by using this key command, I can easily toggle between the two, Command Control P. You'll notice we're switching back and forth. That's a really useful key command for you to use. Now let's have a look at the knock-on effect. Now that we've reduced the gain on each of these loops, we can take another look at our plugins. We're still clipping here on the CLA2A. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the input fader. See that initial impulse, too much signal is still coming into the channel. So let's take out about a couple of decibels from this main drum loop just here. We're starting at -6 dB. Let's have a look. So that clips on the first impulse. Let's come here, double click, -8, take out 2 dB. Let's reset that. So that has at least resolved the clipping from there. We can also look at what's going on here. We'll have a look at what's going on the drum bus and the master stereo bus. If I set my drum bus fader to unity gain, let's see what we get. We have 2 decibels of headroom. Of course, when I add more instruments and more sounds, I'm going to back this off to create even more headroom for those things to fit in. But at least now I have much more control over the overall signal and the integrity of my mix is going to be much improved. So just to recap, the thing you want to watch for is your monitoring. Make sure you check out pre-fader metering. And of course, you can set up a key command to easily toggle between pre-fader and post-fader metering, like so. Okay, until next time, I'm Deuce. I'm out. Peace.